Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is the 52nd tutorial in this course, and in this tutorial we're going to check out an application of arrays. So in the last tutorial we saw the curly braces method of initializing an array, and I told you guys that there are other ways of doing that. So we're going to make a very simple program in this tutorial, and what we're going to do is we're going to have an array that's going to hold 5 scores, and then we're going to add all those scores and store the value in a variable, and then we are also going to compute the average score by dividing the total sum by the number of elements in the array. So I have saved a file using code blocks. As you can see, I've given it the name array_demo.c. On line 1 in this file, I have the stdio.h header file. On line 2, I have the main function declaration, and within the curly braces I've typed in some code. So we're going to go through that code, and then I'm going to run the program for you guys and show you the output. So on line 4, I have declared a variable that's called I, and it is of integer type. And this variable I'm going to use to control the loops that I have in my program, right? So we're going to talk about what we're going to do in just a moment. And on line 5, I have declared a variable called total. It's a float type, and this variable is going to hold the total sum of all the elements in the array, right? And on line 6, I have another variable. This one's called average. It's also a float type, and this variable is going to hold the average value of all the elements in the array. On line 7, I have declared an integer array, and you can make that out because the name of the variable is followed by 2 square brackets, and within the brackets there is a value 5. And the name of the array is score. It is of integer type, so all the elements in it will have to be integers. And 5 here indicates that this variable or this array is going to have 5 elements in it. Right, on line 8 I have a for loop, and using this for loop I'm going to access individual elements in the array, right? So as you can see, I have given I the initial value 0, and the reason why I've done this is because I discussed this in the last tutorial that the index of the first element in any array is not 1 but it is 0, right? So instead of looping from 1 to 5, we're going to loop through 0 to 4, and I have two statements within the body of the first for loop, and on line 10 I have a printf statement that's going to display the message enter score on screen. That's its job. And on line 11 I have a scanf statement that's going to grab the user input and store it in the score array, right? So in the first iteration I is going to have the value 0, so the value that will be provided to us by the user is going to be stored in the first memory location held by the array score, right? So the first element will have the value in the first iteration. In the second iteration, the second element will get its value. In the third iteration, the third one will get its value, so on and so forth, right? And once all the elements have got all the values that are required, we are going to move out of the first for loop and enter the second for loop, in which we are going to calculate the total marks. Again, the for loop is pretty much the same, that is the for statement. We are again going to use the same control variable I here, and it's going to have the value 0 because again we would want to access each element in the array and we would want to start from the first element. So in the first iteration, total is going to have the value 0 plus the value that's in the first element of the score array, right? So remember, I have given total the initial value 0, right? So that's why the first statement is going to evaluate to 0 plus the value that's in the first location held by score. And similarly, in each iteration, a new value will be added to the total variable, and after this loop finishes its execution, total will have the total value of all the variables, of all the elements in the score array, right? And then on line 17, we are going to calculate the average score by dividing the total score by the number of elements in the array. And since the number of elements is 5, we are going to divide total by 5. So that's why you have average equals total divided by 5. And on line 18, we're going to display the average score on screen. And to do that, I've used the %f format specifier because average here is a float type variable. So let me run the program and show you guys the output. So we get the message enter score. We cannot use decimal values here because the score array is of integer type, so all the values will have to be integers. So I'm going to type in 90 and 95 and 92 and 96 and one more, so I can type in 98, right? So you see the message average marks is 94.19997. So you can calculate. I'm sure this is pretty accurate, and this is all that I wanted to discuss with you guys in this tutorial. And I wanted to tell you guys that there are a lot of ways in which you can access the elements in the array, and also there are a lot of ways in which you can initialize an array. We've checked out 2 methods thus far in this course, and if there will be something new to tell, then we will discuss that in the coming tutorials. So thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one, in which we'll discuss something interesting again. And please subscribe to my channel in case you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.